Hey guys, it's MMA Vulture coming at you live with UFC 310 full card picks and betting breakdown. I know we haven't had UFC in a while, but we're back with an absolute banger. And let's go ahead and get into the first bout of the night in Kennedy Nzechukwu versus Lukasz Brzeski. And in this one, I am going with Kennedy. He is moving up from light heavyweight to heavyweight, and I think that this is a money move for him. I think that this is a business decision that is going to go good for him. He was a good light heavyweight with phenomenal footwork, and he was very mobile on the feet. I think that he is going to be very, very good in this heavyweight division, being able to be so mobile, having the knockout power, being able to strike from the outside. He's good at maintaining distance, keeping his opponents at bay. He also has the speed and reach advantage here against Lukasz Brzeski. I think that this could do him wonders. I really do. Lukasz Brzeski is a mediocre fighter. He's lost 4 of his last 5 fights. He's got decent striking abilities. He's kind of lacks power. He's chinny. I mean, he's very mediocre in all aspects. Grappling, he's not that good. He's an all-right grappler with decent takedown defense. I mean, to be completely honest, he is just nowhere near Kennedy's skill level, I believe. I think Kennedy is going to be able to pick him apart. I think that Kennedy could find the knockout shot here because Lukasz Brzeski is chinny. I mean, let's go ahead and look at his losses. He lost to Mick Parkin by knockout, then won against Walter Walker, then lost to Waldo Cortez by knockout, then lost to Carl Williams by decision, then lost to Ian Martin Buday, by decision. Lukasz Brzeski he's a very mediocre fighter at best, and I just think that he's going to get picked apart and absolutely beat the hell up here and maybe even knocked out, to be completely honest. I'm picking Kennedy. I think that he's going to walk down Lukasz. I think that he's going to strike from the outside, pick apart Lukasz. I think that he's going to find the knockout shot and land it on Lukasz Brzeski. I mean, Kennedy has looked good in his last fight against Chris Barnett, where Chris Barnett kind of got injured in the first half, so he barely got to showcase himself, but he was beating the crap out of Chris Barnett, given the fact that he had a huge reach and height advantage. Then the loss to OSP. Then you have the loss to Dustin Jacoby, where he knocked him out clean. Then we have the win against Devin Clark via submission. Then the win against Ian Kudalaba via knockout. It was relatively nice. I mean, he's been doing pretty good as of lately, coming back off of the 2 losses with a win and looking good. I think that he's going to do good in this heavyweight division, and I think that he's going to shine with a knockout in his debut against Lukasz Brzeski. And let's look at the odds here, in which Kennedy Nzechukwu sitting at a -600, Lukasz Brzeski sitting at a +425. I agree with the odds, to be completely honest. I think Kennedy is going to pick him apart, and I believe he's going to knock him out, to be completely honest. I think it's going to be a phenomenal heavyweight debut for Kennedy Nzechukwu. Over 1.5 sitting at a -160, under 1.5 sitting at a +130. I like the under 2.5 if you can find that line. I really think that they could go over a round, but again, I really think that Kennedy is going to find the knockout. He's going to pick him apart. He's going to overwhelm him, outwork him, and find that knockout shot on Lukasz Brzeski, who is just a mediocre fighter in general. And let's go ahead and run it up to the next fight in this great card in Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. And I am going with Chase Hooper. Obviously, I feel like there's no other way to go. You have Clay Guida, who is coming to the later end of his career. He's a tough, durable fighter. He just hasn't been the same, though. He's been looking awkward, clunky on the feet, just slower, kind of just there to win and try and win, but not really able to put out the effort and the skill as he was before. Like, he just hasn't looked the same, is what I'm trying to say. And I believe that Chase Hooper has been surging. He's an up-and-coming prospect that is very well-rounded with good striking. He has a stiff, quick jab. He mixes up his combinations really, really well. His boxing has been getting noticeably better as his fights have been going on. He's a very good grappler, which we already kind of knew. He has strong takedowns, maintains control of you when he gets you down on the ground. He has fast transitions, and tricky submissions. He is a very well-rounded fighter that I believe is going to run over Clay Guida. I really do. Like I said, Clay Guida is on the end of his career. He really hasn't been looking the best, has been looking awkward, clunky, slower. I think this is an easy win for Chase Hooper. You have Clay Guida coming off of the 2 losses to Silva via unanimous decision, then the loss to Rafa Garcia, and the win against Scott Holtzman, who retired, then the loss to Claudia Puelles, who is a relatively decent fighter, I'll say. And then you have the win over Leonardo Santos, which was decent, a rear naked choke. I just think that Chase Hooper is going to be too much for Clay Guida, who's on the end of his career, who's slower, just not looking as good as he used to look, and Chase Hooper is going to run right through him. And let's go ahead and look at the odds on this fight, in which Clay Guida sitting at a plus 700, Chase Hooper sitting at a negative 1,000, and over 1.5 sitting at a negative 175, under 1.5 sitting at a plus 145. I gotta favor Chase Hooper. I think he's younger. I think he's surging. I think he's upcoming, and I think he has a lot of skill, and I really think he's gonna shine here, and I think he's gonna deliver a submission finish over Clay Guida. I really do. I think that he's got better jiu-jitsu, better ground game, and he has a clear path to a submission finish over him. And let's go ahead and run it up to the next fight on this card in Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. And I am going with Michael Chiesa over Max Griffin, and I'm going to tell you why. I believe that Michael Chiesa has a clear-cut grappling advantage over Max Griffin. I think Max Griffin is a decent kickboxer with good striking. He mixes up his shots fairly well to the head and to the body. He's got snappy high and low kicks. He's got all right grappling with decent takedown defense, and I think that's where Michael Chiesa is going to be able to exploit. I really think that Chiesa has decent striking. I will give Max Griffin the striking advantage. I think that Michael Chiesa has a quick, stiff jab, but sometimes looks awkward and clunky on the feet. But he is a very good grappler. That's his bread and butter. That's where he shines in the fight game. He's got strong takedowns. He knows how to advance positions on you. He knows how to maintain control of you when he gets you down. He's got tricky submissions. He's got the clear-cut grappling advantage. And I believe that that's where he's going to take this fight, is to the ground. I think that Michael Chiesa is going to put on a pace that Max Griffin isn't going to be able to keep up with. He's going to keep relentlessly going for these takedowns, keep diminishing the power and the energy of Max Griffin, and just keep chain wrestling, if you would say, and keep him down on the ground. I really think that Chiesa has a clear-cut grappling advantage. I think that he's going to be stronger as well. I think that he's going to be able to manhandle Max Griffin on the ground and be able to ground and pound him and get the victory over Max Griffin. I think Max Griffin has a slight edge over him in the striking department, but I think that Chiesa is going to take it right to where he has the complete advantage, and that's the ground game. I think with the relentless pressure that he puts on, it's going to be Michael Chiesa that gets his hand raised. And let's look at the odds on this fight, in which we have Michael Chiesa sitting at a plus 105, Max Griffin actually sitting at a negative 125. I'm kind of confused on that one because I feel like Chiesa is going to be able to land takedowns at will. I really do. I think that he has the clear-cut grappling advantage. I think that Max Griffin kind of struggles with creating that space to really explode back to his feet when he's taken down. He kind of struggles when he's at the bottom. So we're going to see how this goes, but I see Mike Chiesa getting the better of Max Griffin in a very close-fought battle, and I think that this goes to the cards, and I think it's Mike Chiesa 29-28 with that clear-cut grappling advantage. So I like the over 2.5 sitting at a negative 185, under 2.5 sitting at a plus 155. Over is great money with the negative 185 value. And let's go ahead and run it up to the next fight on this card in Cody Durden versus Joshua Van. This is an absolute banger fight here. I am going with Joshua Van over Cody Durden. I think that Joshua Van is a better all-around fighter, to be completely honest. I mean, he went the distance with Edgar Chavez, and that was a tough fight. They were trading shots, and he looked phenomenal in that fight, to be completely honest. He was picking apart Edgar Chavez, and I think that he's going to do the same here to Cody Durden. Yes, he has the loss to Charles Johnson, who has been on an absolute tear as of lately. Then you have the win over Felipe Bunez, where he knocked him out. He got the decision over Kevin Boraz and his in that fight, and then the win over Zalgas Zumagulov in that fight. Dude, Joshua Van has been on a tear. Yes, he hit a curb in Charles Johnson, who was on an absolute tear, but Joshua Van has very good striking. He's got quick, clean combinations. He's got nasty hooks. He mixes it up to the head and to the body very well, which is exactly what he's going to do here to Cody Durden. He's got the knockout power. He's got decent grappling with solid takedown defense. I think that he's going to pick apart Cody Durden. I really do. And he likes to kind of brawl it out. And I think that that's where he's going to catch Cody Durden, to be completely honest. Cody Durden is a good striker with a stiff, quick jab, who sometimes just gets a little overzealous on the feet, meaning he kind of overextends, leading him to getting clipped, getting caught. He also likes to turn it into a brawl, where I think Joshua Van will thrive more than him, to be completely honest, because Joshua Van loves to brawl, loves to sling and bang, and has some nasty hooks, like I said. I mean, dude, that fight with Edgar Chavez was absolutely insane, and I think that we could be in for another absolute brawl between Joshua Van and Cody Durden, because Cody Durden is tough as nails, but so is Joshua Van. They both have great striking. I'm giving the striking edge to Joshua Van and the power edge to Joshua Van. I think in terms of grappling, they're fairly even in the grappling department. I think that Joshua Van is a slicker, more technical on the feet, and I think that he picks apart Cody Durden and maybe finds the knockout shot. I really could see Joshua Van in the later rounds getting the knockout shot on Cody Durden, because I think that his gas tank is a little bit better than Cody Durden, to be completely honest. I think Cody Durden kind of starts to slow down, and you could see him lose a little bit of that oomph in that second, third round. So I favor Joshua Van as this fight goes on. And Joshua Van is known to be a little bit of a slow starter, though I think that we're going to be in for an absolute war this entire fight, to be completely honest. I think this is going to be one of the better fights, and I'm going with Joshua Van over Cody Durden. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here on this fight, in which Cody Durden sitting at a plus 125, Joshua Van sitting at a negative 145. I like Joshua Van. I think that he's going to use those body shots. I think that he's going to eat away at the stomach of Cody Durden, mix him up with the headshots, and ends up beating Cody Durden in the scorecards. Though I could see a knockout shot, I'm going to pick Joshua Van via decision. I think that it's going to be a tough fought battle between these two, and I see Joshua Van getting the hand raised via decision. Over 1.5 setting at a negative 300 to negative 250, under 1.5 setting at a plus 240 to plus 185 range. I'm going with the over. I think that this fight hits the cards, and I think it's Joshua Van that gets his hands raised. I think that he beats him. And let's run it up to the next fight on this card, in Chris Weidman versus Eryk Anders. And this is actually a rebooking from UFC 309, where Eryk Anders actually got injured, so they are rebooking this for UFC 310, and my pick is going to stay the same. I am going with Chris Weidman. I think that Eryk Anders is a mediocre fighter. He's got decent striking. He's got the knockout power. He mixes up his shots fairly well. He's got the stiff, quick jab. He's got mainly where he shines is the good grappling with solid takedowns, but I think Chris Weidman is better in the grappling department. I really do. I think that he's got faster transitions. I think he's got stronger takedowns. I think he's got solid grappling. I think he maintains control of you when he gets you down. He's got also good striking to mix it up if the grappling isn't going his way. He's got a quick stiff jab. He's got solid high and low kicks. We know that. So I got to go with Chris Weidman. I think that he's going to shine here. I think that this could be maybe even a retirement fight for him. But I'm going with Chris Weidman to beat Eryk Anders. I think that he gets it done here. And let's go ahead and look at the odds on this fight, in which Chris Weidman and Eryk Anders are neck and neck. Chris Weidman sitting at a negative 111. Eryk Anders sitting at a negative 109. So this is literally a coin flip. I am going with Chris Weidman over Eryk Anders. I think that he's going to put on a pace and beat Eryk Anders. I think that he's going to pick him apart. I think that he could use the grappling, mix in the level changes, find success in the level changes, take him down, maintain control of him. He has faster transitions. I think he's going to be able to maintain that control on Eryk Anders even if Eryk Anders goes to scramble. I think we could see Chris Weidman meet him before Eryk Anders could even get up. Give me Chris Weidman to beat Eryk Anders. I like the over 2.5 setting at a negative 250. I think this fight hits the cards, and I think it's Chris Weidman beating Eryk Anders in what is possibly his last fight. And let's go ahead and run it up to the next fight in this absolutely stacked card, starting with the first stacked fight in Randy Brown versus Bryan battle. And I absolutely love this fight. This is an absolute banger fight, and I am going with Bryan the Butcher battle to beat Randy Rude Boy Brown. I think that this is going to be an absolute war between these two. I think that Bryan battles heavy forward pressure fight style will help him win this fight, in the sense that he likes to eat shots, but he's not scared to eat shots, but when he delivers his shots, they're 10 times more powerful than his opponents. I think that he's going to walk down Randy Brown. I think he's going to mix up his shots really, really well to the head and to the body. He's got snappy high and low kicks. He likes to break his opponents down, pick them apart, and I see that happening here against Randy Brown. Randy Brown really likes to maintain distance, kind of strike from the outside. He really likes to keep his opponents at bay, kind of point fight, if you will. He's a good striker with a long, stiff jab, and he's got a reach advantage, a slight reach advantage, as you guys can see here, a 1-inch reach advantage, but I don't think that's going to matter here, to be completely honest. I see Bryan battle walking him down, eating a couple shots, but delivering some shots that Randy Brown can't really handle and will kind of feel and will definitely start having effect. I think Bryan battle breaks him down. I think that he picks him apart. I think that he eats away at the stomach of Randy Brown. And I think that we could see Bryan battle get a knockout over Randy Brown. I really do. Randy Brown has been looking good as of lately. I will give him that. I mean, he's no easy task. He's no easy... he's not a bum, if you will. He's a very high-skilled opponent that has been looking really good as of lately. Against Zaleski, beat him via unanimous decision, looked good in all aspects. Then you have the Muslim Salikov, impressive knockout, seeing as Salikov just got the spinning heel knockout again, spinning wheel kick knockout again. And then you have the win over Wellington Turman, the loss to Jack Della Maddalena, who is surging up and coming and an absolute fucking dog in the rankings. Then you have the win against Francisco Trinaldo, and he has been looking good. Like, every aspect he's been looking good, but he is just going up against somebody who is just better. And yes, this is a little bit of a step up in competition for Bryan battle. I will say that. Bryan battle beat Kevin Jousset. Looked absolutely phenomenal doing so, breaking him apart, eating away at that stomach of his, landing some nice body shots. Then you have the no contest to Ange Lusa, where he got the accidental eye poke, but looked good in that fight. Then the submission finish over AJ Fletcher. Then the win over Gabe Green via knockout. Absolutely stunning work. Bryan battle has great counter striking abilities, great punching abilities. He's just a phenomenal striker overall, and I just think that he's going to be too much for Randy Brown. He's going to walk him down. He's not scared to eat a shot and trade a shot, and I think that his power is a lot better and he's a lot stronger than Randy Brown. So give me Bryan battle to beat Randy Rude Boy Brown. And let's go ahead and look at the odds here on this fight, in which Bryan battle sitting at a negative 232, Randy Brown sitting at a plus 197. I like Bryan battle. I think that he beats Randy Brown. I think that he walks him down, picks him apart. I think that he eats a couple, but I think that when he lands, he's going to land with power, and I think that it's going to affect Randy Brown, and I think that he's going to mix in those body shots and pick him apart and land the knockout shot on Randy Brown. Give me Bryan battle, and I like the knockout for Bryan battle. Under 1.5 sitting at a plus 160, over 1.5 sitting at a negative 200. I could see this going under 1.5, but I'm going to say under 2.5 is probably the better play. I think that Bryan Battle kind of picks him apart. I think that it could take a little bit over a round, and I could see him picking him apart slowly, landing those body shots, really starting to have an effect and going into that second round, and Bryan Battle landing that knockout shot in that second round. And let's go ahead and move it up to the next fight on this card in another banger in Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling, which is actually kind of crazy that Aljamain Sterling is on the prelims again. They're kind of doing my man Aljamain Sterling dirty, but it is what it is. I think that Aljamain Sterling is not going to win this. I am going with Movsar Evloev to beat Aljamain Sterling. I think that, yes, Aljamain has phenomenal grappling abilities. I just think that Evloev is much a higher skilled grappler than Aljamain. Though Aljamain is a very highly skilled, I just think that Movsar is better. I think that he has quicker transitions. I think that he's stronger on the ground. He's better at advancing positions. I got to give Evloev the grappling edge and the striking edge. He's a solid kickboxer with strong, quick jabs. He's got quick, clean combinations. He really knows how to mix it up well to the head and to the body, I believe. And I think that he's going to beat Aljamain Sterling, who does have good, snappy, high and low kicks. He's got good striking. He's got decent striking, but kind of lacks on the power, to be completely honest. He looked good in his win against Calvin Kattar, but Calvin Kattar was kind of washed, kind of like not looking the best in that fight, to be completely honest. Then you have the loss to Sean O'Malley where he got chinned by a counter right, and I think Movsar can actually counter strike fairly well, and I think that he could catch Aljamain Sterling. I think that this is going to be more of a striking showcase, I feel like. I don't really think that there's going to be a lot of grappling, which is weird to say. I really see a world where this is more of a striking fest, and Movsar kind of shows off his striking and beats Aljamain Sterling on the feet. I think that he's the better, more slicker fighter. I think he's more technical as well, and I'm going with Movsar Evloev to beat Aljamain Sterling. And let's look at the odds here on this fight, in which Movsar Evloev sitting at a negative 242, Aljamain Sterling sitting at a plus 207. I like Evloev. Great value at sitting at a negative 242. I think that this is going to be a great back and forth battle between these two. I think that Movsar is going to show that he's better in every aspect, to be completely honest. I think that he's a better striker. I think he's a better grappler, and I think that we're going to see it here come fight night. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 365, under 2.5 sitting at a plus 290. I think this goes over. I think this hits the cards, and I think that Movsar gets the W in his hand raised. And let's move right along to the next fight in Vicente Luque versus Themba Gorimbo. And this is an interesting one because it was actually supposed to be Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz, but they ended up switching it. Themba Gorimbo ended up coming in, replacing him. And I am going with Themba Gorimbo over Vicente Luque, which is going to be surprising to a lot of you guys, but I think that Themba Gorimbo is going to beat Vicente Luque. Vicente Luque has not been looking good as of lately, to be completely honest. He's coming to the later end of his career. He has been taking L's as of lately. He lost by knockout to Joaquin Buckley. Oh my God, can't speak. Then won against RDA. Lost to Geoff Neal, lost to Bilal Muhammad, which these are all great fighters. He has the win over Chiesa via Darshok. I mean, he's losing to some really, really talented and skilled fighters, and I think that he's just up against another highly skilled and talented fighter in Themba Gorimbo, and I think that this is where Themba Gorimbo is going to lay down the hammer and get a knockout. And I see it being brutal, to be completely honest. I think Themba Gorimbo is going to be too slick and too technical of a fighter for Vicente Luque. Yes, Vicente Luque has knockout power. Yes, he has good striking. He has snappy high and low kicks. He has decent grappling with strong takedowns and tricky submissions. But he's very chinny. Let's not forget that. He is chinny, and I think Themba Gorimbo is going to lay the paws on him. I think that Themba Gorimbo is longer. He's got quick, clean combinations. He's got the knockout power. I think that he is going to be able to keep Vicente Luque at bay, kind of maintain distance, kind of pepper him with shots and land the knockout shot. I really think that he is going to beat Vicente Luque. He also has a 1-inch reach advantage that I wanted to show you guys. I think that Themba Gorimbo is going to deliver a finish here against Vicente Luque, and I think it's going to be brutal. Give me Themba Gorimbo over Vicente Luque, and let's look at the fight odds here, in which Themba Gorimbo sitting at a -149, Vicente Luque sitting at a +129. I like Themba Gorimbo. Great value at sitting at -149. Over 2.5 sitting at a -210. Under 2.5 sitting at a +170. I like the over. I think that Gorimbo, or the under, my apologies, not the over. I think that Themba Gorimbo ends this early, and I think that he knocks out Vicente Luque, and I think it's going to be in devastating fashion. +170 for under 2.5 is looking money to me. And let's run it up to the next fight on this card, in which is another great fight, to be completely honest. You got two fighters who are coming to the end of their careers in Anthony Smith versus Dominick Reyes, and I am going with Dominick Reyes over Anthony Smith, which is a shock, to be honest, because I wanted to pick Anthony Smith, but he has just been looking awful as of lately. He's very inconsistent. He's looking very awkward and clunky as of lately on the feet. He's lacking that power, that speed that he normally has, and just really hasn't been himself, to be completely honest. In which Dominick Reyes has been struggling, but against some very good competition. I mean, John Jones, Jan Blachowicz, champion. Yuri Prochazka, champion. Then you have Ryan Spann, which brutal knockout. He caught him. He chinned him. He caught him absolutely clean and phenomenal. On props to him. But he took the time off. He got better. He came back, delivered a nice knockout over Dustin Jacoby, and looked phenomenal. I think that he's got the speed advantage here over Anthony Smith. Clear-cut speed advantage. I think that striking-wise, I think he's going to have a clear-cut striking advantage as well, because of the fact of how quick and speedy he is on the feet. He's going to be a lot more mobile than Anthony Smith. I think he's going to pick him apart. I think that he's going to deliver a knockout shot on Anthony Smith. He has a 1-inch reach advantage. I think that his footwork is a lot cleaner. He's a lot more technical on the feet. I think that Anthony Smith is going to be throwing these looping shots in which Dominick Reyes counters and finds the knockout shot on Anthony Smith. Give me Dominick Reyes to knock out Anthony Smith, and I think it's going to be in devastating fashion. And let's go ahead and look at the odds on this one, in which Anthony Smith sitting at a +270, Dominick Reyes sitting at a -330. We know Dominick Reyes has quicker and cleaner hands. He's got better footwork. He's more mobile. He's not as slow, awkward, and clunky on the feet as Anthony Smith has been looking as of lately. So I gotta favor Dominick Reyes, and -330 is screaming at me. I think that it's great value. I think the under and overs in this fight is going to be a little bit tricky, and you should probably stick away from that, because I think that they're both chinny on both sides. I do think that Dominick Reyes catches Anthony Smith, and I think that it ends via knockout, so I would stick away from the rounds on this fight and give me Dominick Reyes to beat Anthony Smith. And let's go ahead and run it up to the next fight, which is the main card opener in Nate Landwehr versus Dooho Choi. And I am going with Nate Landwehr over Dooho Choi. You have two absolute savages, in which this is going to be a banger fight, to be completely honest. These are two fighters that thrive in brawls, so you know it's going to be an absolute striking fest, an absolute brawl to the end. I really think that Nate Landwehr is going to be better, in the sense that he has more power in my belief. I think that he mixes up his shots better. I think that he also has snappy high and low kicks. I think that he also has a good ground game. He has strong takedowns. He knows how to maintain control of you when he gets you down. He peppers you with good shots when he gets you down. He advances positions. Not only that, he thrives in a brawl. Yes, I get Dooho Choi does too, but he's very good at recovering after he gets clipped. Nate Landwehr has gotten clipped in previous fights and has recovered phenomenally. And we could see something like that happen where Dooho Choi lands a clean shot and then kind of gets overzealous and overeager and tries to go for the finish and kind of throws the gas tank out the window. And we could see Nate Landwehr come back in the later rounds. I really see something like that happening because I've seen Dooho Choi a couple of fights where he's landed a nice shot and then kind of just been overzealous and leading himself to getting clipped and countered on the feet. I think Nate Landwehr is a little bit more technical on the feet. I think that he's going to be able to find those shots on Dooho Choi. I think that he could land a brutal knockout here, though I think that Dooho Choi is tough, and I think that this does hit the cards. I'm going with Nate Landwehr. He has been looking phenomenal as of lately. He got the win over Jamal Armours via knockout. The loss to Dan Ige. Dan Ige is a veteran who is just an absolute savage, a short notice dominant fucking fighter. I mean, Dan Ige is phenomenal. Then you have the win over Austin Lingo via submission. Then the win over David Onama, majority decision. Phenomenal fight right there. And then the win over Ludovic Klein. He's beating some very solid competition and very good competitors. I really think that he's going to beat Dooho Choi here. I think that Dooho Choi hasn't been up against the level of competition that Nate Landwehr has, first off. The win over Bill Algeo, impressive, but not that impressive, to be completely honest. Bill Algeo isn't the highest of highest in calibers of UFC. The draw over Kyle Nelson, where I think he kind of won that, but screwed himself by getting a point taken. The loss to Charles Jourdain. Charles Jourdain is a pretty good fighter. Then you have Jeremy Steffens knockout. I mean, dude, to be completely honest, Nate Landwehr has been up against the better competition. I think that he thrives more in a brawl than Dooho Choi. I think he's got the power. I think he's more slick and technical on the feet, and I think that he beats Dooho Choi via decision, though he could land the knockout shot. And let's look at the odds here, in which we have Dooho Choi sitting at a plus 121, Nate Landwehr sitting at a negative 141. I like Nate Landwehr. I really think that he picks him apart. I think he could land the knockout shot, but I'm going to go with it to end via decision. I think that it's going to be a tough-fought battle between these two. I think it's going to be a very back-and-forth battle and back-and-forth brawl, and I'm going with Nate Landwehr to beat Dooho Choi. Over 1.5 sitting at a negative 170, under 1.5 sitting at a plus 140. I like the over 1.5, and I think that this goes to the distance, though I could see Nate Landwehr landing a knockout shot. And let's go ahead and run it up to the next fight on the main card, and which is a very, very surprising fight to me, in Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. And I really don't understand why this is on the main card, to be completely honest with you. Bryce Mitchell is coming off of the loss to Josh Emmett, where he got brutally knocked out and absolutely starched. And then you have Kron Gracie, who lost to Charles Jourdain and is now fighting a top 15 fighter after that, which kind of doesn't make sense to me. And then the loss to Cub Swanson, the win over Alex Caracas, who's 14-11, the most mediocre fighter. And he's just, Kron Gracie, yes, has great jiu-jitsu, has great ground game, but doesn't have the striking game at all, to be completely honest. And he got exposed in his last fight for not having a striking game. He hasn't worked on it. He showed that in the last fight that he didn't work on his striking game. I believe he's still not going to work on it. Not only that, he's going up against somebody in the top 15 who is just going to be too much for him, to be completely honest. I think Bryce Mitchell is way better in every aspect. He's got good grappling. He's got good jiu-jitsu. Bryce Mitchell is very well-rounded, and I think that he's just going to beat Kron Gracie. This is mixed martial arts. Kron Gracie lacks in the striking. I think Bryce Mitchell is easily going to be able to snub Kron Gracie's takedowns, maybe even not engage in the grappling, and instead show that this is mixed martial arts. Show him that you got to have a striking game and snub his takedowns, keep up to his feet, outstrike, pick apart Kron Gracie, and beat him via unanimous decision, 30-27. I really think that is going to be a dominant performance by Bryce Mitchell, and I think that he's going to beat the crap out of Kron Gracie. And let's go ahead and look at the odds on this, in which you can clearly see Bryce Mitchell sitting at a negative 800, Kron Gracie sitting at a plus 550. Everybody believes the same thing. Bryce Mitchell is going to destroy Kron Gracie. And everybody probably thinks the same thing as well, in the sense of, why the hell is this on the main card? I don't understand why this is on the main card. You got Aljamain and Evloev in the prelims. Not only that, you have Bryan Battle and Randy Brown in the prelims. You can move either of those two fights up over this Bryce Mitchell and Kron Gracie, to be completely honest. And I wouldn't say shit about it. But this fight is kind of weird being on the main card. Either way, I am going with Bryce Mitchell. I think that he's better in every aspect. I think that we could see him snub Kron Gracie's takedowns, keep this on the feet, and outstrike and beat the crap out of Kron Gracie. Give me Bryce Mitchell. And the over 2.5 sitting at a negative 245, under 2.5 sitting at a plus 195. I wouldn't touch the rounds. Bryce Mitchell could end this early, show that this is mixed martial arts and you need striking in your game, and maybe even knocks him out. But I'm going Bryce Mitchell via decision. And let's go ahead and run it up to the next fight, which is an absolute banger in the main card, in Ciryl Gane versus Alexander Volkov. And I am going with Ciryl Gane over Alexander Volkov, though I will say Alexander Volkov has been looking phenomenal as of lately, has been progressively getting better in every single fight. So even though this is a match that has happened previously and Ciryl Gane did get the better of Volkov, I do believe that this time around is going to be a lot closer, though I am going to say Ciryl Gane is still going to win. He has a 1-inch reach advantage. I think that he's more explosive. I think he's quicker on the feet over Alexander Volkov. I think mobility-wise, it's in his favor. I think that power-wise, it's in Ciryl Gane's favor as well. I think that either one could land a knockout shot, though. I do believe Ciryl Gane is more technical and going to be the cleaner fighter on the feet and be able to outstrike Alexander Volkov. And we could see him maybe even land a knockout shot, though I think this goes to decision, and I see Ciryl Gane beating Alexander Volkov. Alexander Volkov has been looking phenomenal. He has the win over Sergey Pavlovich, and then the win over Tuivasa via submission, the win over Alexander Romanov via knockout, the win over Gianca Rosenstruck via knockout, and then the loss to Tom Aspinall, which is obviously, take that one with a grain of salt. It's Tom Aspinall. He's the interim champ. He's an absolute dog, and he's going to be fighting for the belt next, obviously. So keep that, take that with a grain of salt. Then you have Ciryl Gane, who has been getting bashed because obviously the loss to John Jones, where he got submitted super quick in the first round, and he just really didn't look the best, obviously. And then he went out there, knocked out Sergey Spivak, and looked phenomenal. I think that we're going to see him come back, show that he is still one of the best heavyweights, and he's going to show it here against Alexander Volkov. He's got the 1-inch reach advantage. He got the speed advantage. He's got the footwork advantage. I think he's going to be able to pick apart Alexander Volkov. He can strike from the outside, seeing as he has the longer reach. He can mix in some level changes and find some success in taking down Volkov. And Volkov has been submitted, as we saw, to Aspinall. You have Ciryl Gane, who, yes, did get submitted by John Jones, but that's John Jones. Then the loss to Francis Ngannou, where he put Francis Ngannou to the test. He made Francis Ngannou grapple with him because of the fact of a lot of people underrate his boxing and his striking. Ciryl Gane has really good striking and is really dangerous. He's got nasty hooks. He's got devastating knockout power. He is a phenomenal striker, and I feel like a lot of people really kind of underestimate his striking, and I think that we're going to see him showcase his striking here, and I think he is going to deliver against Alexander Volkov and be 2-0 against him. I think that this is going to be a repeat in which Ciryl Gane wins. And let's look at the odds here, in which Ciryl Gane sitting at a negative 340, Alexander Volkov sitting at a plus 280. I like Ciryl Gane. I really do. I think that he's going to beat Alexander Volkov. I think that he's going to pick him apart. He can strike from the outside because he got the longer reach. He's got the speed advantage to enter and exit the pocket against Volkov if he needs to. He also can level change, find some success in level changing, get some takedowns, maintain control of Volkov. And I think that Ciryl Gane wins this via decision We could see him end it early via knockout, but I think that this goes to decision, and I see Ciryl Gane winning it. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 310, under 2.5 sitting at a plus 250. I like over 2.5 sitting at a negative 310. Give me Ciryl Gane to beat Alexander Volkov via decision. And let's run it to the next fight on this main card, which is another banger in Shavkat Rakhmonov versus Ian Machado Garry for the co-main event. And I gotta go with Shavkat Rakhmonov. I think that this is going to be a absolute battle. We got the battle of the O's. Somebody's O has to go, and I am thinking Machado's O has to go. Ian's O is gonna go, man. Shavkat has way better grappling skills. I think that he's more dangerous in the sense that he has quicker transitions. He's a lot stronger on the ground. Not only that, he maintains control of you when he gets you down. He is just all around better. Though striking wise, it's going to be fairly interesting. I really am interested to see how it goes on the feet, because I think that it's fairly close. Though I think that Shavkat Rakhmonov is going to be able to close the distance and land some heavy shots on Ian Garry, because he's very precise and very good at countering. I gotta give it to Shavkat Rakhmonov, though I do think that this is going to be a very close battle between these two, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Garry win in the striking and Shavkat kind of throw it back to the grappling side of things and use his clear-cut grappling advantage and take Ian Machado down to the ground. But I think that Shavkat is still going to be able to fare well in the striking against Ian Machado Garry, and I think that we could see him pick apart Ian and maybe even land the knockout shot, but I'm going with Shavkat to beat him via decision. I think that we could possibly see him get a submission even. I'm going with Shavkat via submission. I think that, if I'm going to be honest, I see him really pressuring him, kind of putting on a pace that Garry can't keep up with, landing takedowns, chain wrestling, and really just kind of eating away at the gas tank of Garry, making him super tired and just super uncomfortable. I got to give it to Shavkat Rakhmonov. That's how I see the fight going, and I think that he submits him, finds the back, and locks in that submission finish over Garry. Give me Shavkat over Ian Garry. And let's look at the odds here, in which Shavkat sitting at a negative 350, Ian Garry sitting at a plus 285. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if Ian Garry actually is the better striker on the feet, and Shavkat kind of relies on his grappling abilities instead and finds the submission finish. I really think that that's where it's going to go. I think Shavkat is going to be relentless with his grappling and find some success in taking down Ian Garry, maintain control of him, advance positions. He's quicker in transitions than Ian Garry. He's stronger on the ground than Garry. He's got trickier submissions, and I think that he locks in a submission finish on Ian Garry. Give me Shavkat Rakhmonov over Ian Garry. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 170, under 2.5 sitting at a plus 122, over 3.5 sitting at a negative 130, under 3.5 sitting at a plus 100. I could see this going over 1.5, maybe over 2.5. I think around 3-4 is when Shavkat's going to find the submission finish. So I like the over 2.5. I'll say 3-4 Shavkat for submission finish. And let's run it up to the main event of the evening. And if you guys haven't, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. And let's throw it to the main event in Alexandre Pantoja versus Kai Asakura. And I am going with Pantoja. And I know there's a lot of people going with Asakura, Pantoja. It's a lot of flip-flopping on both sides. I got to go with Pantoja. Listen, Asakura is a phenomenal striker. He's a really good striker in the sense that he has the knockout power. He's got quick, clean combinations. He's got a very good pressure pace that he puts on his opponents and kind of wears them down and kind of picks them apart. But I don't see that happening against somebody like Alexander Pantoja, who is just relentless and just does not give up. I mean, we've seen him time and time again against Brandon Rival, against Brandon Moreno, against Kai Kara France. He just does not give up. He is an absolute savage. He's tough. He's durable as nails. And I just see Alexander Pantoja being able to strike with Kai Asakura. I think that they're toe-to-toe. I think Alexander Pantoja can strike with him. I think that Kai Asakura has a slight power edge over him in the striking, but I think that they're still going to be, I think Pantoja is still going to be able to fare well against him on the feet. I think that Pantoja is going to have a clear-cut grappling advantage where he's going to take down Asakura on the ground, be able to maintain control of him, pepper him with shots, garner that control time, and I see Alexandre Pantoja getting the win over Kai Asakura. I really do. Yes, Kai Asakura has striking and has that knockout power, but he, to be completely honest, has only a puncher's chance. And if you think otherwise, I don't understand it, to be completely honest. Yes, he has good takedown defense, but he really only has a puncher's chance, to be completely honest. And Alexander Pantoja is going to eat him up and swallow him up. I'm telling you, Pantoja is going to be able to fare well in the striking with him. He's a lot grittier. He's a lot tougher. I think that he also has been known to recover very, very well. He's been rocked a couple of times, has been recovered. Kai Asakura has lost to Manel Kopp, has been knocked down multiple times. Even against 99 opponents, he's getting knocked down. So, I mean, though he has been showing out and getting better progressively, I still think that Alexandre Pantoja is going to be too much for him, and I think that we're going to see Pantoja get his hand raised, and I think that he's going to dominate this fight against Kai Asakura, though I see Kai Asakura having some moments. And let's look at the odds here, in which Alexandre Pantoja is sitting at a negative 260, Kai Asakura sitting at a plus 220. I got to go with Alexandre Pantoja. I think that he's the clear-cut grappling advantage. I think striking-wise, he's going to be able to fare well in the striking department, be able to keep up with Kai Asakura. Yes, he's lacking a little bit in the power, but I think he's going to make up for it in fight IQ, and he's going to be able to beat Kai Asakura in decision, to be completely honest. Or I could see him finishing it early against Kai Asakura. I could see Pantoja locking in a submission. Like I said, he's got the clear-cut grappling advantage. Give me Pantoja via submission. Over 2.5 sitting at a negative 130. Under 2.5 sitting at a plus 100. I think that this goes over 2.5. I think Pantoja locks up the submission late. I think that he grinds out the gritty win over Kai Asakura. I think that he's going to eat away at the energy and the gas tank of Kai Asakura, make him kind of drain and low in energy and find that submission finish over him. Give me Alexandre Pantoja over Kai Asakura. And if you guys haven't, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.